Mark, hello, this is KT0 and I am here to bring you this cast on request. I notice you have not seen me for a long time simply because I don't have the time to do these things anymore, but any chance I've got, this is the product of it, I suppose. Okay, now for the introduction of the players. Howling from the south side, the south side of the snow Plow is our Empire player for the day. He's in the color of yellow. His name is Psychoturtle, or Psychopath. I prefer Psychoturtle. That is a much more constructive name. And on the north side of the snow Plow is our allies player of the day. He's going to put the color of Scion, and he is Yui. I assume he's Yui, but well, it's Yui, so Yui it is. And curiously enough, he's not opening with a regular airfield opening. Instead, he's going for 2 barracks and producing a lot of peacekeepers, looking for put up a lot of early pressure right here. And I don't know if Psychoturtle has noticed it, but the infantry are actually making their way to the main base of the Empire player right now. And on the back of it, he is expanding into 2 refineries. The third structure, the fourth structure that's being constructed with the construction I assume would be a second refinery, and then the pressure here would delay the expansion of the Empire player, I suppose. That's what he's aiming for. But I don't know how effective that would be. Regardless, it is a lot of infantry and they just keep coming out of just 2 barracks. It's still going. Wow, okay. This is going to be a tremendous amount of pressure here. The Empire player is going to either erect up a mecha base, which I don't think he has enough time to do, or use his dojo somewhere, which I cannot find, to produce enough. Oh, there's a dojo to produce enough Imperial warriors to try to push those peacekeepers away. Otherwise, the MCV will be under a large amount of fire. And on the back of that, of course, the Allies player, being a good player that he is expanding into the water with the 3rd refinery, and now with the economical lead as well, simply because his expansion is earlier. And then the peacekeepers are just walking in a line, I suppose, yeah, in formation, and try to continue the pressure. And the Empire player now looks like he has enough infantry to deal with the peacekeeper for now, but the question is, would he be able to deal with a follow-up, which is expectedly the airfield. And once the Vindicators make their ways over the Empire player's main base, the infantry force of the Empire player will be slowly dwindled down to the point where they cannot hold on to the defense of the main base anymore, and the peacekeepers will be able to come in and deal with the miners pretty easily, especially considering the fact that there isn't really much of a war going on with the refineries there. And the Empire player still is without a 3rd refinery and without any form of possibility to put on pressure. That is without the mobility of the Tengus, if you ask me. Is going to be set back for a while, and the Allies player will be using his economical lead to great effects by producing a Vindicator. And by a Vindicator, I do mean a Vindicator, and taking up to tier 2 apparently. Now with a Cryocopter as well, a very, very smart choice of support unit, because, well, the infantry is easily frozen. So, and regarding of the Tengus, before they get to sufficient number, they can always be countered easily by the Apollo fighters that the Allies player is just so proud of. I mean, fond of, not proud of. And speaking of the Apollo fighter, there's one, and the Tango is going to be shut down. Yes, it's being shut down pretty hard, and the Empire player now is pushing across the map with some infantry apparently. Well, you can't just sit there and take punches all day. You've got to put on some pressure of your own to keep your opponents on his feet, and that's exactly what he's doing. And he has expanded with a 3rd refinery to the southeast. Yeah, the southeast as well. And, well, it's the most logical choice. You basically expand as far away from your ally opponent as possible to make his bombing round, just in case he does discover the refinery is there, to make his bombing round that much longer, to make the cycle longer, to give you more time to react, to build up more units and such. And the Tangoos are making their way over now. A dogfight over the airfield, which is not a particularly good idea, but it looks like the Empire player is going to win the fight regardless. Or, well, is he going to? No, he is not. Yeah, like I said, having a dogfight just above the airfield of the Allies player is not exactly a very great idea, since the aircraft just can be repaired instantly, and they can, well, once they get into the red, and if the Allies player is looking to micro, we can always put the aircraft back into the airfield for repair. Yes, that's what I was looking to say. I'm sorry, I'm just a bit out of practice for this casting thing, so it's a bit hard for me to keep track of all the things that's going on the map, but it's not to mention that I still have to do the strategic analysis. Oh no, it's such a nightmare, but blah 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 blah. I'm just whining right here. It doesn't really matter. And the Empire player sneakily is going to expand into the water as well with a 4th refinery, and the Allies player without a response. Just keep in mind that the Empire player doesn't really need to move his MCV to expand into the water. He can just build a core, and the core would be able to move on its own, but well, I suppose it just make it that much quicker. And speaking of quicker, the MCV somehow, without me noticing, has made his way into the Empire player's main base. It's now constructing a barracks, which I suppose is going to be for those rocket troopers to try to support what is going to be erected here. Yes, indeed, it is a multi-gunner turret, and oh, it's an engineer. I don't know why he's building it. Oh, I see. His MCV is taking a tremendous amount of fire from the Empire player, and thus is looking to build out an engineer to try to repair it instantly. Just try to remember that once you put an engineer inside of a structure, it would go back to full health instantly. So that is what it's looking to do, and that's exactly what it's doing right here. And with 2 barracks, well, the pressure at the Empire player's main base will be infinite, so to speak. And I don't know what the response of the Empire player can be. It doesn't have an economical lead though, so it's sort of a nice edge, but with only 1 unit producing structure, and with your opponent just right at your base and erect up turrets, and with the support of 2 infantry structures, it's not really that, well, an airfield that's adding insult to injury. So I was about to say that if you can erect up a large enough forces to try to push out and take out either the MCV or the unit producing structure that is at your base, then you'll be in a good shape. But since there's airfields, I suppose the DPS from the Allies player will be a bit too much for the Empire player to handle, and he now has to think about an anti-air. The problem is, yeah, the anti-air, that is as in the Striker VXs in its form when he's on the ground, yes. And the problem with the Striker VXs is that it gets rocket pretty hard by those rocket troopers, and they have no means of fighting back. The only thing that the Empire has to rely on is, in fact, the tsunami tanks and the ability to withstand damage when the secondary ability is activated, and using the tsunami tank to crush those infantry to try to counter the effect of those of the MCV push of the Allies player. And the Allies player, being a smart ass that he is, he's using the forward airfield for refueling, resupplying and repairing, and it just makes this bombing round so much quicker than that the Empire player will not be able to have enough time to erect up a proper response. And now with 3 turrets up, I just honestly don't know if the Empire player can still hang on here. But he does still have economically. Oh, I see. Oh, the infantry push. I didn't notice the barrack here. The Empire player sneakily and unexpectedly, I suppose this is unexpected for the Allies player as well, has erected up a large enough infantry force to push from the west, and has taken out the barracks here. I don't know if the Allies player will have enough time to respond. The Allies air force is mighty indeed, but with this many infantry and without AOE, well, technically it does have AOE, but it's not as effective as you might imagine, and the MCV is now under a tremendous amount of pressure without the ability to produce infantry. I'm looking at a map here, I don't see a second barrack, so there is actually no way for the Allies player to produce any infantry here. The infantry is going to micro all day against the MCV, and the MCV won't be able to do anything. And at the back of it, the Empire player is pushing from both sides and it's taken out the airfield. What a turnaround! What a nice reversal by the Empire player. Wow, you are now officially my idol. That's such a fantastic play, and the MCV of the Allies player is down. Now he is without a way to expand and without a way of changing up his play in terms of producing a different kind of a unit other than his air force. And now all the Empire player has to do is to sit back and defend. And with a finite amount of units, I don't really see how the Allies player can hang on there. What a nice reversal. What a surprising turn of event. Wow, that was phenomenal. I just can't stop thinking about it. Where did he put out that dojo here anyway? I mean, I never know. Those are pros. Okay, I'm just a caster. Those are pros. They are good at multitasking. They are good at strategic thinking. I am not, so can't blame me for not noticing that, right? And the yeah, now it looks like the Empire player has racked up a large enough tank force to make him confident to make a concerted push towards the only unit producing structure that the Allies player has, that is the airfield. And the geography of the map is making the attack slightly awkward, and the cryocopter will make the matter a bit worse for the Empire player as well. I suppose the Allies player could still hang on here, since the tank force of the Empire player isn't really that large. It's only about 6 or 7 tanks with proper micro, and the shrinking beam and the freezing beam of the cryocopters, the Allies player can potentially hang on, but that's with the assumption that he lifts his air force out of the airfield. Will they get taken out with the airfield itself? Oh no, without a unit, the Allies player is sure to lose, and indeed that's what exactly happened. GG. Well done, Empire player Yui. I suppose it's Yui. His name just... No, that's not Yui. It's Psychoturtle. What am I saying? Ah, God. Did I get the player names mangled up during the cast? I did, didn't I? Yui is actually the Allies player, and the Empire player is actually Psychoturtle. Wow, okay. I was recommended this game by Zordman, and he has chosen wisely, and I am glad for it. Well, I don't know how to do with the outro now. I'm so out of practice with this casting thing. But yeah, I suppose I should inform you guys of what is going to be happening in the future. Basically, I've joined the Diversity Clan forum, and per Zotman's request, I will most likely be casting games every week, and with a capacity of time that I currently am having, I suppose 1 cast per week is the best I could do. But I just hope you guys enjoy. And oh yeah, before I forget, there is actually this guy called Cybird, CNC Cybird. He does CNC3, Kane's Wrath, and Generals. Basically, he just does Command and Conquer in general, and does RA3 as well. And he's a very talented caster that is still active in the scene. I recommend you guys to check him out. I'll link his channel in the description, so go ahead and check him out. That should fill the blank when I'm not there quite nicely. So yeah, I hope to see you guys soon.